After enduring months of the strictest lockdown in the country, people in Melbourne are getting restless. Now the lockdown's been extended and the roadmap out is long and slow.
I have 2 children at home. I have a hospo business that's on the edge of a financial cliff. My wife's working full time. It's terrible.
Paul KASTEEL owns a bar and a restaurant on Melbourne's usually bustling Chapel Street. They've been restricted to takeaway only since early July.
I'm sitting in an empty bar. I'm losing $2,500 to $3,000 a week.
Despite his landlord waiving most of his rent and some staff getting government wage subsidies, he still can't break even.
What I've done to try and wrap my head around what are the scenarios? Am I going to close? Am I going to have to put it into administration?
With no prospect of customers dining in until at least the end of October, Paul's feeling frustrated.
I think the general feeling from most people in my industry is that it's been mismanaged. There's not enough consultation. I think a lot of people in my industry think Dan Andrews should resign because at the end of the day, it's happened on his watch.
This isn't what Max Sandler imagined Year 12 would be like.
The first casualty of the lockdown was the formal, and that was meant to be early in the year, but that was cancelled.
Max says he's adapted well to learning from home.
This year I'm studying further mathematics.
But he's worried about his final assessments.
The Russian Revolution.
To do exams from home would be absolutely out of the question. I think it's not realistic. I think that the government, the Victorian government, has dragged their heels with the school system.
If the case numbers keep falling, Year 12s will return to school in mid-October.
Which one you like the most?
I like the snow ones.
But students in Years 3 to 10 won't be returning until next year.
I think the person who took the news the worst yesterday was my 11-year-old, having to break it to him that he might not be returning to school this year. If you're a working parent, even if you're not a working parent, it's challenging.
From this weekend, some restrictions will ease. Sitting outside with another person will be allowed, and people who live alone can have a nominated visitor. World Health Organisation advisor Mary Louise McClaws says that's the sensible way forward.
We need to be compassionate because we're in for the long haul. There's not going to be a vaccine for, I don't think, at least another 12 months. And we're going to have to think not just strategically to prevent infection, but to also care for the mental health.
Tempers are fraying as the lockdown drags on and the economic losses mount.
I do not know as to what planet these people are living on to think, as I've heard people say, that this is a political or a media beat up.
David KLEIN, his wife and his 5 sons have all had COVID-19.
I personally have been through it, and I can tell you it's no joke. So for people to just bury their heads in the sand and deny it, I say get real, because unfortunately this is real, it's devastating, and people ought to realise that.
David was diagnosed in March and admitted to the Alfred Hospital's intensive care unit, where a doctor told his family he'd have to be ventilated.
He also made it clear to them that the likelihood of survival was only going to be 30%. Over that period of time, I lost 23 kilos. My muscles were completely shot. I was unable to get out of bed, obviously unable to walk, initially couldn't talk, couldn't write.
David was finally discharged after 7 long weeks.
The whole experience has definitely given me a far greater appreciation for life in general, for the wonders of the human body, how everything we take for granted, the fact that we can walk, that we can talk, that we can see, that we can breathe by ourselves without needing machines. I can tell you one gets a far greater appreciation for these sorts of things after having been through the sort of experience that I have.
Melbourne's weather is finally warming up, and new cases have fallen to the lowest number since June. Victorians may be desperate for a reprieve, but the risk remains.
I think the authorities need to be very mindful before they make any change that they are very clear about what has caused the second wave. Because to lift restrictions may also be allowing a third wave to occur.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.